What up, world? It's your boy Mark Waldo Ward, Super Facts Show, Super Facts Network. For a Throwback Thursday episode, we got Baby Paul B. Peasy with us. How you doing today, brother?
Blessings, King. Good to see you, man. What's up, Mark?
Same old, same old. You know,
Yes, sir.
when I first, when we first met, I found out that you was part of the Beat Miners. But I don't know if it was the Do or Die 2 or Crossroads, or I don't know. You've done so much this year, but
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
looking over your production credits, I saw that you produced Leflaur Leflah Eshkoshka,
Yes,
or
sir.
also known as Fab Five,
Yes,
which
sir. Yes, sir.
you know, not like y'all had up in New York with Ralph
hmm
McDaniels, but we had this music box where you call like this 900 number, right? And and,
hmm
and, and every video had its own little number, like
I
Thuggish,
remember that in
like
Florida.
yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
no, 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 no. I'm from
Oh,
DC.
oh, oh, oh.
This from the DC area. Yeah, I'm just stuck
Okay,
in
okay,
Florida. But
okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. You
but
know,
yeah,
it's interesting because a lot of people who know that record don't always know I did it, and that's no discredit to anyone. You know, shout out to the Beat Miners, Evil D, Mr. Walt. That's my alma mater. That's my college. That's where I started. You know, we was a real family unit as far as music production and stuff like that. So, you know, it was a good look.
but not well. I mean, specifically speaking of the production, what I was gonna say is, and the reason I was bringing up that channel, like for instance, if people really like stuff, it might come on over and over and over. Like I remember when Thuggish Ruggish Bone came out, you couldn't even watch the shit because it came on like 150 times a row.
Right,
So
right.
like Leflaur Leflah Eshkoshka, it wasn't on the level that ever got annoying, but it was always
hmm
playing because it had
hmm
such a different sound. I mean, and some of it was,
Yeah.
the rappers, and then how like they kind of had their own verse, and then on the second
hmm
part of the song they traded bars, which I'm,
hmm
I'm not sure if anybody had ever actually done that on a record before. But
Right.
to that time, at least to what I'd heard in DC, and admittedly I had a younger, more untrained ear, I never heard a record that was kind of like in the production that like, let's say, light and breezy and somewhat like happy with
Yeah, it's so funny you say
contrasted
that.
with like with such
Such raw
hard
street
lyrics.
energy.
but
Yeah,
but then it was
yeah.
also like without, and I ain't talking none of that dated shit they try to recreate on like Nickelodeon or Disney, but like their verses was some true 90s shit.
It
Even like my
was.
man with the on the video where he talked about even go hard in my underwear or whatever, and then he got the little
hmm
jersey with his underwear.
Yeah, shout to Strang Wonder, man. And I gotta say rest in peace to Sean Price, you know what I'm saying? AKA Rucker, Heltah Skelta, real legendary lyricist representing Brooklyn, you know what I mean? Representing boot camp. It was a great moment for me because I was just getting my name recognition as part of the Beat Miners within the last year and a half around that time, 95, 96. I worked on Tech and Steel's first album, Smith and Wesson, did like 3 records on there, and that was my debut as a music producer in terms of the first album I ever produced music for. So, as I'm starting to get my name reputation, people start recognizing my work. I ended up demoing some songs for Heltah Skelta and O.G.C. at in Brooklyn at Special Ed Studio. Shout out to Special Ed. Buckshot and Special Ed had built a really cool relationship around that time. So he had me come in his Ed Studio in Brooklyn just to demo up records for Duck Down. So I demoed songs for O.G.C and Heltah Skelta, and some of them ended up on the album, some of them didn't. One of the songs that ended up on the album that I demoed originally was Let the Brains Blow, if you remember that record. It ended up becoming a white label once Duck Down situated their deal with Priority Records. So they did it as a test record to leak to the mix show DJs and the college radio and stuff like that to build that buzz for that time. Because this was before the digital age. It
Right,
isn't
right.
like we didn't have Instagram. We barely had, I don't even know if we had MySpace back then. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, you needed them
everything
places to get like the little community tastemakers to start telling everybody around them, like, yo, you gotta
exactly,
check it. Yeah. Because like
exactly.
only the
So,
heads was really listening to like the college radio, or the
mhm.
college students who would then go home and tell people about the shit theoretically, if it
Right,
worked out
right.
right.
So enter the white label, which is the test pressing. Don't even have no artwork, just a song title, maybe an artist credit. You know what I'm saying? And that is just circulating amongst DJs, make shows, clubs, wherever they can get their hands on it to like play that new record. And what the Brains Bowl was the test record, and then on the strength of that buzz, and then Duck Down and Priority built a network relationship as label partners. Then they opened up the budget to start doing more and more records. So by the time we did Leflaur Leflah, I ended up doing like 5 songs on that album. So as a thank you for the behind the scenes work I was doing and developing the music catalog to lead to that situation, they gave me a lot of work on Heltah Skelta's album. If you notice, I have 5 records on that album. Probably more songs on one album by a Duck Down label artist than any of the albums I've ever worked on. Smith Wesson, I did 3. You know, I think O.G.C, I did like maybe 3. And, you know, I think one of the boot camp compilations, I did like 2. You know what I mean? So that Heltah Skelta album was like, it was like the pinnacle of my work as far as my working relationship with Duck Down Records for that time. You know what I'm saying? And that was a hands down classic that accidentally broke on the radio. Shout out to Evil D who tested it on High 97, and then it just picked up from there.
What does the name mean?
Well, actually, I gotta give the credit to Sean P, man. You know, he just had his own language, his own style, meaning that, you smoke weed, get high in the studio, just have fun, talk shit, you know what I mean? And just make up his own words. So it was basically him saying, this is just some fly street shit. That's the best way I could describe it. You know what I mean? It was like a fake French language that he just made up. Because remember, he opened up the song, and that's what ended up. They let it into the title because he was introducing the Fab Five, which was a marketing tool that Duck Down came out with to market both Heltah Skelta and O.G.C as as an entity that split off into different groups, kind of like how Wu-Tang was building, and then they split off into different groups and artists, solo artists. So the Fab Five
was it like like that
single.
Was it like that Biggie Craig Mack shit? Because on
right.
eBay I saw this thing that said Big Mac.
Big Mac, yeah, exactly.
And Homeboy was selling that shit for 20,000. So it was kind of
right.
It was kind of something like that. So like they can both get awareness off each other's. Yeah,
exactly. It was an excellent marketing tool, and they call themselves the Fab Five. The only sad thing out of that is that the success of that record, people expected a group album,
right?
Fab Five album. I know the buzz was there, but it never happened because it was just intended to be a single. They had the A side, which was a song called Blah, produced by another individual. I forgot his name. I don't know if his name was Tone or something like that. And then the B side was my record. But they shot a video and everything for the Blah record. It did what it did, but it didn't really pick up to the point where everybody was like, like latching onto that record or even radio for that matter. So before they wrapped up the marketing of the single, they said, let's just push this record. And then it started picking up spins. That's when they shot the video for it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And if you notice, the video was very simple. It was like a photography studio background, all white. And then they came up with the idea to make it look like the 5 Heartbeats of the Temptations, where they got mics and they just standing around dancing and having fun with it. You know what I'm saying? They were just making the most out of still marketing that single within the budget that they had to work with. So thankfully, my record helped take off the whole movement over there. You know what I mean? And the rest is history.
Yeah, man, that's crazy how in the music business, sometimes the demand creates a supply, and sometimes the supply creates a demand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right. So shout out to Duck Down, shout out to Boot Camp, shout out to Heltah Skelta O.G.C. Once again, rest in peace, Sean P, legendary lyricist out of Brooklyn. As far as the development of that record, like you said, it was a lot of trading bars, and I had to narrow down a lot of verses, without making anything feel lost between the artists, because there's 5 of them. They spit and they verses competing within each other to have like the hottest verses. So I had to like pick all that apart in the studio just to narrow it down and make sure that every person was properly represented as far as their lyrics, but still structured in a way that it was a song. So, by the time you get each verse from each person and then structure the chorus that Rock did, the yes, yes, y'all, you know what I mean? Because the long version actually ended up on Heltah Skelta's album, and it's like almost 5 minutes long if you have the album. But the radio version was the edited version that hit, as far as mix shows and what DJs was playing in the club. And that I had to narrow down to like 3 minutes and change. So I had to really pay attention to how I structured the verses and the interaction between them to make it like a cohesive song. You know what I mean? It was work, but it was worth it. It was fun.
Yeah, I was about to say you damn sure did a good job of it. As far as the
I
Fab
appreciate
Five
it.
project goes, you know, like obviously that can't happen, you know, as something new
Mhm.
and that doesn't exist. But I'm sure some DJ could probably put something together of all, you know, somebody
Right.
that had like an excellent knowledge of like, you know, the deeper cuts and
Hmm.
you know, like who knows, like some European cat who only rapped for 2 years might have had two of them on one song, and that shit's a
Right.
banger though, because A-Rap music
Right.
produced it when he was 12 or some shit. You know what I mean?
I think what would happen is, like you said, a fan favorite would have to compile some songs from both Heltah Skelta and O.G.C, maybe some B-sides and songs that, you know, some people don't remember as the lead singles, and make it a body of work and do a custom designed artwork, you know, pay a homage to that movement at that time, you know.
Hey, things
That
like
would be the
that
only way it
have
could
been well
happen.
done before.
Absolutely, especially out in Europe, man, because you know Europe, you know, they really, really curate
Yeah.
quality hip hop music, and they respect the culture and the art. You know what I mean? I would love to actually see that. If somebody within the sound of my voice that sees this interview comes over with an idea like that, send it to me, man. Hit me on Instagram at baby Paul B Peasy.
Yeah,
Facts.
I hope they do. And let's finish with this. I know you can't really. Well, I mean, you maybe you can, maybe you can't. But
Mm-hmm.
would you say that I'm crazy if I told you I thought Ruck had the best performance of the whole song?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's without question, arguably, that Ruck was probably the strongest lyricist out of the entire boot camp. They all were talented. They all had their own niche and wave. You know, Buckshot had his niche. Tech still have their niche. Rock had his niche too because of the voice. You know what I'm saying? But as far as lyrical ability and like his songwriting skills, metaphors, punchlines, you know, Sean P was a problem in these streets, man. You
Even
know what I
on the
mean? And
video
that's
though,
probably
like his
why.
presence and everything, not just the music and the delivery, you know.
Exactly. He was mad entertaining. He was a jokester, you know, but he was serious at the same time. He was a street dude. So he could joke with you, but he'll punch you in the face if you try him. You know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying?
yeah, I don't, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody's in the
real
know
talk.
that. Well, shit.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, he came up with the title. So that speaks for itself. You know, the whole song opens up. The name of this here is Leflaur Leflah Eshkoshka, the Fab Five. And then here comes Rock. Yes, yes. So, you know, the rest is history. Classic record.
No doubt, that's a perfect place to end it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.